We're going to go ahead and try to start to be able to get through all of this in an hour or maybe a little bit less than that. So welcome to all of you in the room and also to those students in Rome. My name is Carrie Penabad. I'm the director of the undergraduate program. And for the benefit of those who have not been part of an upper level design studio lottery, I would just like to talk to you a little bit about the way in which these presentations will work. So this is an opportunity for us to present all of the upper level studio offerings this upcoming fall. And we're asking you to please remain for all of the presentations. We've asked all the faculty to keep the presentations to 5 minutes or less to introduce the projects. And if you have any questions regarding any of the studios, many of the faculty who are here in the room will remain to answer any questions that you might have. And for those who are not here, you can feel free to email them. What we ask is that you fully submit a ballot. So you need to rank all the studios from your top choice to your, let's say, final choice. And we ask that you rank them all. If you have any questions about the ballot and the ranking, you can ask Danai Morales or Ana Regalado, and they can walk you through that. And you will be responsible for turning those into academic services. They will then be sorted, and we do our best to try to give everyone, as much as possible, their top choice. And we hope to do that before the end of the semester so everyone knows what studios they will be in prior to the summer. So I think we can begin, and our first presenter is actually being Skyped in from Basel, and we will be presenting two faculty members today, just very, very briefly, because they are new to the school, and so in an effort to introduce them to all of you, it would seem fair to give a very short bio. I am delighted to present Charlotte von Moos. Charlotte will actually be a new faculty member that will be joining us in the fall. She was a candidate as part of the national and international faculty search that took place this past year, and I'm delighted to say that she has accepted the offer, so she will be joining us as a full-time faculty member come fall. Charlotte is a practicing architect based in Basel, Switzerland. She received her formal education at the ETH, and after graduation she collaborated with Herzog and de Meuron, where she was in charge of the Vitra House project. She has been a teaching assistant of Valerio Olgiati at the Accademia di Architettura in Mendrisio, and from 2010 to 2016, she taught at the ETH Studio Basel, Institute of the Contemporary City, and Harvard GST with Jacques Herzog and Pierre de Meuron. In 2017 and 2018, she was visiting professor at TU in Munich, and will be a workshop leader at the Porto Academy this upcoming summer. Together with her partner Florian Sauter, she is a founding partner of Sauter von Moos, an architectural office that is engaged in work at all scales, both in theory and in practice. Both Charlotte and Florian will be co-teaching the studio. And so, Charlotte, if you're there, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi.
Your poster is up, and you are small, but on our screen.
Okay. Hi everyone, thank you, Carrie. Hello, together. I'm very excited to be joining the school in fall. I'm very excited about it. The first semester we proposed a studio about Miami, as we don't know the city too well, and we see it as a great opportunity to meet Miami better and also to get to know you, the student, better. The studio title is Miami Aviation, and in fact we would like you to choose an existing building or an infrastructure or maybe also an urban integration in Miami that triggers your imagination to alter, transform or mutate it into something new. So in a way, the image that you see on the poster is Richard Hammond, how he works on the model of the Guggenheim Museum as a collage. So that's image with existing buildings or structure. So no matter what age, what size or age, in the process of choosing a specific place of action, Each of you will have to develop an immediate spatial, programmatic, and compositional strategy for the structure's future. The goal is to envision another Miami full of possible architectures and magical surprises. Just as some inspirational ideas, this is a piece by the artist Joseph Beuys, where I translated the quote. He said, Beuys recommends raising the height of the Berlin Wall by 5 centimeters, in brackets, better proportion. So, this being said, it could, as I said, the scale you choose to work on is up to you. It can be radically minimal contributions, interventions, or also large scale, or it can start from an infrastructure which is altered and changed. However, and this is why I end with the image of a very real project which started an alteration of an existing industrial structure. It's a project of Ricardo Bofill, probably it's his office that you probably will know. With all this utopian energy and optimism at hand, we think it's very important that your initial concept will rigorously test in the utopian potential throughout the semester, as it faces the more pragmatic, so the programmatic aspect, the structural, the constructive, thermodynamical reality, to really be a solid project. We're not interested in just creating utopias and fun images, but it should be a real project and intelligence and meaningful contribution also to the surroundings to where it stands. So, in terms of working methods, our main work tools will be large-scale models and also visual montage. Okay, so I'm very excited to see you and get to meet you involved. I was told I have to be very brief, so this is it. I'm looking forward to meeting you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlotte.
Bye.
She's closing them out. She's doing this on her.
She is still there. Oh, good.
Okay. Professor Jermaine Barnes will be next.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, I am Professor Jermaine Barnes, and my studio for the fall will be a full 15-week course, and that course is called Housing Destruction. The course will be split into a 1/3 portion and then 2/3 the second half. The first third is research-oriented, where you will look at failed social housing projects from across the globe. Each student will have the opportunity to select any housing of their choice from the list provided, or if they have a project that they are specifically interested in, they will be allowed to pursue that one as well. For the latter 2/3 of the semester, they will be challenged to re-envision that failed housing project using any type of resources or representation methods they so choose. So that could be analog, digital models, digital fabrication. It could be a music video, for all I care. But the idea is for you to take the course as a way to understand what type of social and political aspects also influence architecture. I have to take off. I have an ARE exam in like 45 minutes. So if you are looking for me, You won't find me here. You will see me tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, or you can send me an email. Thanks for your time.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I know, I want, that's what I want.
Next time. Yes, ma'am. So we're next.
Okay. So Professor Jim Anderson and Professor Art Chair will present the design build process.
Hello everyone, hello Rome students, welcome. We'll quickly give you a synopsis of what we're doing for the semester. The image up on the screen is of a project from 2016, and it was a mobile chicken coop. And if you read the images from the top left to right and bottom left to right, it gives you a quick snapshot of the focus of the semester. It starts really quickly with a visit by the students to the client. These are always real projects in design build. So that was a visit to the site. Once we collect the program from the client, the students work collaboratively to design the project in teams that are rotated so that there's no single ownership of the project. It is one project at the end of the semester that ultimately is constructed, so students arrive at that project collaboratively through drawings. The drawings go from quick sketches to final construction documents, which are then presented in model form and final drawing form to the client along with the budget. Then the project's constructed, as you can see on the far right. And then finally it's delivered, in this case, to the site. This was a mobile chicken coop for Empower Farms. It was a place that allows people to come to the farm and work, people that have certain disabilities. And the chicken coop was essential for the production of eggs for the farm. Organic eggs, and also keeping the insect population down, since it was a site that was where they grew tropical plants and food without pesticides, and so the insects are eaten by the chickens. And so there's a student holding the chicken. This is Nicholas Elsega from a couple of years ago. We had to collect the chickens to put them in the chicken coop. Then they're moving in. And then finally the client. And so that's a real quick synopsis of what happens in 16 weeks from start to finish. Oops. Sorry, there's one there. But the project for this semester is going to be a potting pavilion on the historic Kampong site in Coconut Grove. This is a rare opportunity to work on a very interesting site. A really kind of unprecedented site that is really a kind of research campus for the National Tropical Botanical Garden, which took over the site, which was formerly David Fairchild's private residence. David Fairchild, of course, is known as an international plant explorer and somebody who's introduced exotic plants from all over the world into the U.S. And so the site, you can see in the images from left to right, is the cover of his book, which is a book written about the site called The World Grows Round My Door from 1947. And the rear of the boat is his boat called Cheng Ho, which is from 1947. It's the boat that he traveled around the Caribbean and Southeast Asia collecting plants. And you can see a picture of him there in the field hat in the Philippines. The image to the far right of the two gentlemen sitting on the beach at the Kampong is Alexander Graham Bell and Barbara Lathrop, two very important people in the history of invention, in the case of the telephone with Alexander Graham Bell, and Barbara Lathrop in his botanical research. The lower images are of the site. The left gives you some sense of the exoticism of the plant material on the site. The map shows you more or less where the site is. It's at the south of Coconut Grove, just off Douglas Road, and it's a 1,000-foot long site that's 200 feet wide, going from Douglas Road all the way to the bay. The aerial photograph shows you the site is really a collection of botanical plants, and finally the last image shows you the site as you view the bay. These are all historic images from the 40s. So it's a great project, great opportunity. We'd love to have all of you there. And Jim is going to talk a little bit about the studio.
Hello. This is a really unique studio. It's different from most in that in this particular case we have a real client, we have a budget, we have a program, and we have a time schedule to finish it. It's design and build, so you will work as teams, design it, and then you will work as teams to build it. And at the end of the semester, we're going to deliver it to our client. So we're really looking for dedicated students who are willing to put in the extra effort. We're looking for students who are willing to commit to a project and carry it all the way through. We want you to take ownership of it, and it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Thank you all. Hope you sign up for those of you in Rome. We'd love to have you.
Okay, I was just told that they couldn't hear my voice in Rome, so I'm hoping that you can hear me now. I'm hoping more importantly that you could hear the presentation. Okay, so next will be Professor Stephen Fett. This studio will actually be one of 2 3-credit studio offerings as part of the semester. And so if you would like to take the studio, it will be in the second half of the semester as a 3-credit offering.
Good afternoon. The name of this studio is Quartier Clinique, which when translated to English from Haitian Creole means neighborhood clinic. A critical aspect of prosperous modern civilizations is access to quality, affordable healthcare. In Haiti, healthcare is often fragmented, disorganized, or absent entirely, especially in smaller towns and rural areas. Abject poverty plagues the nation, and lack of consistent preventative care and immunizations leave Haitians vulnerable to preventable airborne illnesses and infectious diseases. Much work must be done. Research suggests that building smaller, more numerous clinics throughout the country that offer preventative care strategies, consultation, and educational opportunities, as well as limited procedural space, can have the greatest impact on saving lives. The studio will focus on the design of a clinic for one of 3 small towns in the region of Arcahaie, a region in which this university and the School of Architecture has done a good deal of research on already. The design of each clinic should be accompanied by a small but meaningful public space. Collectively, they will serve as catalysts for the greater good of the region and as symbols of community and hope. Instruction will focus on local building practices, low-impact development, sustainability, traditional urban design, and interpreting folkloric tradition. And finally, I'm excited to announce that this class will be taught with the help of Jeff Farmer, who has extensive practical experience in Haiti. He currently works for the University of Miami's Institute for Advanced Study of the Americas. This will, as Carrie mentions, be a 3-credit course in the second half of the fall semester beginning in mid-October. Thank you.
Next we have Professor Wynne Bradley that will be presenting the PAIR program as part of our internship and studio opportunities. Hello to Rome out there. This is an opportunity. We've offered this before. You can speak with a number of students that have already taken this opportunity. It really leaves what we traditionally have as a studio that's here on campus. And this is an opportunity to both do an internship, so you would spend time, 20 hours a week, at a host site or an office, a local office. You can either find your own placement or I can help you find your placement, but it is an internship that you would need to apply to and have a resume, etc., and have them accept you. The other half of this studio or this program is a comprehensive research project. So that would be done, we meet weekly on campus. You would do it collaboratively with your host office, as well as I would help you advance it here on campus. Traditionally, this is set up as a 9-credit studio and elective. The idea behind this is so that you have the ability to be off campus and experiencing work life, as well as linking it back to the campus. So you will need to come, it's a good opportunity to take, you'll need to have a block of time, basically, that your schedule will need to allow that you have your 9 to 5, roughly speaking, Monday through Friday, have the ability to have those open for at least 20 to 30 hours that you can be at your host office, and then be able to come back Wednesday by 4 and come to class, as well as engage with the lecture series. Offices that we have had in the past are Siskovich, Architectonica, Perkinson Will, DPZ, HKS. We've also had smaller offices, George Hernandez's office, Steve Fett and Rick Lopez. We've also engaged with the CUCD and with a capstone project here on campus. So there's a lot of different opportunities to engage with internship. Research topics, that is something that you would individually, collaboratively define with your host office. So some of the topics that have been done in the past are the depiction of light and air, urban farming and placemaking, neon signage and historic identity, the Miami Airport, creating a new vision, and reinterpretation of traditional Bahamian construction. So you can see there's a broad width or breadth of research topics that you can define and ultimately come away with producing a booklet that is contributing your thoughts, your research to the greater architectural thinking. This is you do have to apply to it. You do need a portfolio, resume, and letter of intent, what you are looking to get out of an internship site. You are paid 20 hours a week, and you do get NCARB hours for that. I will be meeting sometimes, because this is a little bit of a white elephant, I'm going to be meeting at 1:15 in the courtyard for those of you that are interested, and we can talk about this further. Next we have Professor Elizabeth Plater-Zyber. This studio offering is part of the Masters of Urban Design program, and it's open up to our Bachelors of Architecture students and Master's students as well.
Thank you, Carrie, and good afternoon to all. Good evening in Rome. The introduction to urban design, as Carrie said, mixes both BARC upper-level students, MARC elective studio students, and our urban design students who are just arriving in the fall. This is taught in coordination with the Masters in Real Estate Development and Urbanism Intro Real Estate Development course, which I failed to put in the poster, but there's always some group of students who are taking the development course, and it's one of the case studies, which is very interesting, a very interesting experience. Introducing students to the principles, processes, and practice of urban design through the design of a transit-oriented development, a TOD. We will run the semester in 3 pieces. The first will be a study of precedent. Those will be selected in class with the students to establish the program. We will be looking at those places that are generally considered successful TODs in order to understand what mix of uses and what densities are there. Moving on to understanding the individual building types that surround transit-oriented development, residential and commercial buildings, the street and block patterns and types, parking garages, and so on. And finally, with the master plan, aggregating all the components into a place whose goal is to be convenient, have character, and be beautiful. And because the real estate students will be with us, is also make money for someone. Great places are interactions of building designs and public spaces. And those sometimes seem to be the public benefit and the private interest can seem to be in conflict, and design is the media that resolves those. We'll be looking at a 200-acre site straddling a commuter rail line, and so students will learn about public transportation types, how to design a good neighborhood structure, what are the elements of placemaking, how to design in such a way that you invite pedestrian use of public spaces. And we'll be looking also at some of the recent developments that perhaps you've heard about: biophilic design, smart cities, ag-urbanism, and lean urbanism. Some special experiences planned for the semester: the National Charrette Institute seminar, a 3-day workshop that teaches you how to run and manage a charrette, will be in the fall. They've been in the spring in the past. This year we'll be moving them into the fall. So the studio will participate in that. A 3- or 4-day field trip to the Panhandle of Florida to visit the region of some of the most acclaimed new neighborhoods in the United States. And some of the classes will take place at my professional office, at the offices of DPZ, with participation from Andres Duani and Galina Tacheva, author of Sprawl Repair. And we look forward also to having input from the Office of Dover Cole that's here in South Miami, and Peter Calthorpe, who coined the term transit-oriented development many, many years ago and has an office in California. That'll probably be a Skype interaction. But we look forward to calling upon the people who have made these places to enable you to learn the basics quickly with their help so that you can focus on your designs for a transit-oriented development. Thank you.
So next we have the Urban Hotel Studio, taught by Professor Alan Schulman. Like the Haiti Clinic, this is the second of the 3-credit studio options, and it will be offered as part of the first half of the semester.
Thanks, hello, and hello to everyone in Rome. So I've been teaching the hotel studio since 2014, and we've run it in 2 different ways. One we call the Resort Hotel Studio, which deals with the question of the large-scale resort hotel, and the other is the Urban Hotel Studio. And this semester we're going to be doing, again, the Urban Hotel Studio. So we're going to be looking at a hotel in an urban context, and that's important because we're going to be looking at it not only in terms of it as a building type, which is a super interesting building type, but also as a building block of the modern city. Why is the hotel important? Well, I mean, first of all, it has one of the richest programs that you can imagine in any building type. It mixes public and private uses. It's a place of social interaction. It is, in fact, the ultimate mixer of a building. It is a sponsor of new lifestyles and technologies. when you think about the way hotels integrate things like restaurants and shops and lounges and gyms and spas and meeting facilities, function rooms, ballrooms, swimming pools and everything. It's really a very extraordinary type. But I mentioned it's also a kind of a laboratory of innovation on a technical side. You know, a lot of the things that we take for granted today, like electricity and indoor plumbing and steam heating and hot water and telephones were pioneered in hotels. So hotels are really at the avant-garde in many ways of placemaking and technology and architecture. They are kind of, like I said, a laboratory in a way of modern life. In fact, the sociologist Dean McConnell said that by following the tourist, we may arrive at a better understanding of ourselves. And I think that's very true. Tourism sets the tone in many ways. And nowhere more than here in Miami. We are in one of the most extraordinary places to study and understand hotels anywhere in the world. Hotel culture is built into the culture of the city. We have hotel cities in Miami, cities built with large areas that are mainly urban resort districts. And when you think about all the layering of hotels in the city, from the kind of ad hoc creation of the hotel industry in the 1910s and 20s, the grand hotels like the Biltmore, for instance, the glamorous resorts of the 1930s, the glamorous urban resorts on Miami Beach, the Art Deco, for instance, the 1950s flamboyant hotels and the architects like Morris Lapidus who defined hotels and hotel architecture for a whole generation. That all happened here, and so did really the explosion of the boutique hotel industry, and we have examples of all the best boutique hotels in the world located right here. So we're going to be, as part of the studio, visiting some of these hotels, some of these places. We're going to be meeting with hoteliers. In fact, one hotelier, Jonathan Plutzik, who's the owner and developer of the Betsy Hotel on South Beach, has agreed to be our client for the project. So we'll have interactions with him in terms of what makes a great hotel. And the hotel itself will be called the Bridge Hotel, and it'll be located on the Miami River. At a location just south of the 5th Street Bridge, on a sort of a narrow area that bulbs out just at the intersection of several roads. It's on the water, so we'll be dealing with issues of water, and one can imagine many different possibilities for building type, but it will be, in the end, an urban hotel. So I hope you find it interesting and look forward to next semester. Thank you.
This is still yours, right, Alan?
Oh yes, sorry. That's the site.
Okay. Next we have Professor George Hernandez, which will be presenting the studio. In this studio, you will be able to take towards the Historic Preservation Certificate.
Good afternoon, and good evening to the people in Rome. So this studio is a spin-off of a pilot program that happened last semester, where a group of students, some are in the room actually, went to Santiago de Cuba to document an ensemble or a kind of grid of 12 colonial churches that had been listed to the World Monument Fund list of world patrimony. And so the drawings you see are drawings of that studio. But the studio this semester is done in collaboration with the Institute for the Advanced Studies of the Americas, the Center for Computational Science, and the Institute for Judaic Studies. We're all banding together. And we're launching a studio that will survey and document the synagogues of the Caribbean. So these two initiatives with churches and synagogues seems to be moving forward and in parallel. It's open to undergraduates and graduates and whomever else wants to come. There, I see that everyone's enthralled by this drawing. The left-hand drawing is made by Catalina, first on site by hand, and the irregularities in that ceiling plan is because in 1702, before 1 year after the completion of the church, an earthquake struck the church. And those deviations have remained for 300 years after the earthquake, simply being shimmied and supported. And the right-hand drawing was done by the Center for Computational Science using the point cloud technique of the same ceiling. Okay. So what will happen is that about 10 of us will go down maybe a week before semester starts. So I need to coordinate with everyone who signs up with the studio. If you please include your emails, because there are logistical things that have to be taken care of for the travel. We will go down and measure a synagogue in Curacao from the 19th century. And we will start all the field measurements and then come back here and execute the working drawings. As we are down there doing the field measurements, we will also have ample opportunity to engage with the local community. We have a number of alumni in Curacao that we are also bringing to the initiative from the school and from the university at large. And like we did in Santiago de Cuba, the program will be extracted from that interaction with the community. So we will finish the field documentation, which will constitute about 40%, let's say, of the work of the semester. We start a week early, so that helps us get a ramp up to that 40%. And the remaining portion of the studio will be to critically develop and implement an addition to the historic synagogue that addresses some community need or some need of the immediate community that practices in the synagogue. Actually, the synagogue is not practicing currently. Both initiatives and others that hopefully will grow talk about the revitalization, let's say, of sacred infrastructure and their possible reuse as some of these congregations grow and shrink. But I hope that you'll consider signing up. We had a very splendid time with a large group of students in the case of the Santiago studio. In that case, Professors Penabad and Lopez also joined us from the school. In this case, I'm afraid they're not coming with me. Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
So these are also images. Okay, and the last presentation will actually be made by Professor Alan Schulman for our visiting critic. We have a visiting critic, and this is actually typical of the upper level design studios. This is an opportunity for us to invite outside guests to join the curriculum. And our visiting critic for the fall will be Professor Ted Gibbons. Alan will be presenting a short bio and also the project.
Thank you. Again, Ted Gibbons will be a visiting critic. Just to give you a little background about him, he received his Bachelor of Architecture from North Carolina State University and his Master of Architecture from SCI-Arc. He's been teaching at Hong Kong University and also at Tongji University in China. He is founding partner and leader of the environmental research group at Ten Design, which is a firm located both in Hong Kong and in Dubai. He has won over 30 design competitions in Asia and 20 AIA design awards. And recently he's been lecturing on the worldwide on the concept of beyond neutrality. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to read briefly the description of the studio and then show you a short video. A master plan study, and I should mention this is, the project is going to be in the Bahamas, and there will be studio travel to the Bahamas. That studio will be partially subsidized by the school in the worst case scenario. In the best case scenario, the studio will be sponsored and it will be all expenses paid, but we don't know that yet. And if it's not sponsored, and if it's not all expenses paid, then you do not have to go. It's an option to travel. A master plan study was completed for the University of the Bahamas in 2013. The results show that the number of students is expected to grow by 50% in the next 5 years. With this explosive growth comes the urgent need for a comprehensive campus master plan design. 50 acres of land were given to the university for campus expansion, with a total of 220 acres planned for the future. The site for the new campus is east of Nassau along the Grand Bahamas Highway. The distance from Nassau and the lack of current infrastructure will require more comprehensive planning ideas beyond the university buildings themselves. The studio seeks to produce a visionary proposal to influence the design of the University of Bahamas North Campus Master Plan. The design will be a balance of community making, response to cultural identity, pedagogical innovation, and technological vision. Special consideration will be given to the integration of the natural environment into the campus plan. Designs will also be focused on the resistance to natural disaster and future-looking sustainability concepts.
Let me add,
yes.
So that this is actually a real project that the University of the Bahamas is doing. So it will have it's an opportunity to have a role basically in influencing that project, and it will be conducted in parallel with the studio at the University of the Bahamas doing the same problem and the possibility of interaction with that other group.
Yeah, maybe just for the students in Rome, I'll repeat that. So this project is a real project that will influence the development of the final project that will happen on this site. And it's being done in conjunction with a studio in the Bahamas. A group of students will be doing a similar studio, so there'll be some interaction with those studios in the Bahamas as well. All right, let's see if I have the video here. Thank you. That was clearly the work of his firm. Thank you.
So that completes our presentations for the afternoon. Again, thank you for those of you in the room and for those of you in Rome. Just as a reminder, if you have any questions, we have the faculty here in the room, many of them. If you have questions, you can also email the faculty. But please remember to submit your ballots and to rank all studios. And I just want to take a moment to thank Ana Regalado, Janai Morales, and Ray Cristobal to really help put all of this together. If you have any questions about the balloting, please see Academic Services. So thank you very much.